opening, grand closing.
All right. Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. Your only friend, these YouTube streets, Border Rock 77, back with another video. In my last two videos, we covered pretty much the fulfillment of what we predicted in terms of Microsoft's direction. Now we got statements from AMD and all that stuff. So now, what's the next segment? In terms of how does this apply to PlayStation, competition, and all that stuff? People want to wonder, what does PlayStation do, or does this impact PlayStation, or is PlayStation doing this, or what's going forward? What is happening with PlayStation? How come we're not seeing enough about the PlayStation side of this, or whatever's going on with PlayStation? Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because the truth is, the PlayStation brand is at a steady state. There's really not a huge there is nothing wrong in terms of the brand being in danger. Now, does PlayStation have its own issues? Of course, right? I personally spoke about the live service strategy and how it impacted some of the first party studios, right? How game development now taking longer, and Sony didn't really invest into their studios to truly prepare for that specific dynamic of gaming this gen. I've talked about that stuff, but none of those are brand ending, console ending, mistakes or issues, right? Are they issues? Yes. But is that going to destroy the brand or just force Sony to do something completely different? No, not at all, right? The brand is stronger than it's ever been. It's its most profitable that it's ever been. Sony generated this year $31 billion, which is the largest amount of revenue any gaming company has ever done, along with record profit growth for the company, right? So the brand is strong overall. They've done a phenomenal job this gen. The PlayStation 4 is still kicking, so now Sony's looking at this multi-generational strategy, which just leads with consistent revenue and profit across multiple platforms. They already talked about how they're prioritizing the PlayStation 6 for next generation. They talked about Microsoft's strategy and what they're doing, and they even recognize that's great for Microsoft, but they specifically said that that is not something they're interested in doing. That is not something they need to do, and there's no reason for them to go in that direction. And that's primarily because the PlayStation brand as a console brand is strong. It's just stronger as it's ever been in terms of its strength in the market, which is completely dominating the market, and its strength and its financial strength, right? The few issues that did have, I talked about it plenty of times. I personally don't like the live service strategy. I think they went too big, too hard, too fast on it. But they're still, as of now, still all in on it. They claim to have recognized the mistakes, and they promise to be better, at it. Recently, they delayed Marathon. It was announced it was supposed to release September 23rd, but I guess from the feedback from the alpha tests and so many creators that are a part of it, they felt it's best to just move on from it and work on it and release it at a later date, right? But they got great partnerships with second party studios and third party studios. Death Stranding's coming out next week, Death Stranding 2, and that's going to be amazing. We got Lost Soul Side in August, Plus Yotai in October, right? Partners, they got, what is it, the Hero Projects in China that's coming out with great content. Korea developers, they're already working on the sequel to Stellar Blade 2, which is absolute success right off the bat. And then they're working on expanding their reaches in the African market, Middle Eastern market. So there's just a lot of stuff that's great. The hardware, this is probably the best generation hardware for them. The PlayStation 5, the base one, is absolutely an amazing console. Probably the best console of all time in terms of, starting out. Absolutely a beast, well designed. The Pro is probably the best example of what a mid-gen refresh should be. The peripherals are amazing. You know, the basic DualSense controller is awesome. The DualSense Edge is the best controller on the market. The Portal is a massive success, and then you got the little things like the earbuds. I would say the weakest part of the peripheral accessory side is the PSVR 2. It's a very niche thing. Their content, PSN Plus, apparently they're doing successful, and more people and more are subscribing to the premium tier, so that shows record growth, right? I mean, everything is just hitting all cylinders, right? And of course, it's not perfect, right? Nothing's perfect, right? But overall, you can't argue the overall information. You can't argue against the data and what's going on and what is being presented. PlayStation is the strongest brand. There is no confusion in identity. The figureheads understand that PlayStation, they want the PlayStation console to be the best place to play. They have close partnership with AMD for future console technology. I mean, I don't know what more does anybody want. You know, PlayStation's making money. The subscription's good. The game sales are great. Most console gamers are playing third party on the platform. People are still buying the platform even when the price increased. It's all there. Like the overall data is there. I honestly don't know what more the community wants. You know, if the specific issue is just specific first party output, I think again live service was a contributing factor. I think they recognize that. I think they're in the process of correcting that, but the correction is not something you're going to see within a year. That's not how it works, right? If they decide like, oh, we made a mistake, whatever, we're going to invest in this, and now the investments for new games are coming. Again, games take 5-6 years to make. So you're not going to get an overnight game. It's not like Sony's going to be like, oh man, this was a mistake, and then boom, tomorrow a new game pops up. That doesn't work. Let me put it this way. Games are going to pop up a lot over the next 3 years. You're going to see even more games coming out, whether it's Sony's own first party or part of their like Dev Studios and partnerships to create more games. But that's because these games were already greenlit like 2, 3, 4 years ago, right? So now, you know, the 3, 4 year, 5 year is up. That's when they start popping out. And everybody's gonna be like, oh, Sony's finally listening. Look at all these games. They finally doing what they're doing, not realizing these games were already in development the whole time. I think the problem is Sony moved away from having showcases where they pretty much told everybody their 3 to 4 year plan. So everybody knew 3 to 4 years out, all the projects, a little teaser look of the games that are coming out. So people weren't left, you know, how would you say, not knowing, like left wondering, like what is out there, right? Sony's making games. The games are there. They're in development, right? If you think Sony has studios that are just sitting at the beach doing nothing, then that's just dumb, right? The only thing is you don't know what they are doing because they're no longer doing the whole 3 to 4 year thing, right? That's just not their style anymore. Primarily that really doesn't benefit. Like every single one of these studios is doing something, right? Santa Monica, on the Cory Barlog, they already had a project. Fire Sprite has a project. Sucker Punch, Ghost of Yote is coming out. Naughty Dog has 2 projects. One of them that we know is Intergalactic Heretic Prophet. Team Asobi just released a game, and now they're working on a new project, but their new project again won't be out probably to 3-4 years. Housemark, we got Sorrows. The last game before that was Returnal. Insomniac, they released Miles Morales, Rift Apart, and Spider-Man 2, and now we know Wolverine's next. So that's 4 games, right? Meteor Molecule released Dreams in 2020. Then they move on to no project. So again, we should be hearing something over the next year or so because the 5-6 years is up. Bluepoint was a mess up, right? Because they released Demon Soul Remake, phenomenal. And then they went on to work to this live service game that they canceled. So now they're working on a new game, but again, 4-5 year project. So you're not going to see a game from them this gen. Ben Studios, another mess up. They didn't release anything at all. They were doing live service. That's canceled. They started a new project, but again, 5-6 years, so you're not going to see nothing. Proliferate Digital, you're not going to see a new game for them because they got GT7, and GT7 adopted the live service model. So their game is out, and it's going to be consistent. It's been consistently supported over and over and over. So people are like, oh, where's the next game? You're not going to get a next game. GT7 is a live service model, so all the updates there. And Proliferate Digital only does racing games. So it's not like they made other games. That's a strictly racing game studio. Dark Outlaw's new. I think they're 2021, 2022. So we should probably be hearing a game about a year from now or two, their first announcement stuff, right? Oh, P Insomniac, we already had 3 games from them, and they're working on their fourth. Housemark did one, and they're working on their second. Asobi already released one last year. Naughty Dog has not released a new game. They did remasters, but they have not released a new game. Faction was canceled, but they announced and shown a little bit of Heretic Profit, so we know they have that in the pipeline. And there's a second game they confirmed they're working on. So they're working on 2 games. Sucker Punch goes to Yotai. Santa Monica Studio, they released God of War in 23, 22. And Cory Boggs working on a second title. So I would imagine next year we'll hear more about it. Fire Sprite, I think they canceled the game and worked on a new one. So we may see one towards the latter half of the end, right? San Diego Studios, always making MLB The Show. So they're consistent. Haven, most likely their game could be next year or maybe push. They have a little issues, but again, fall on the live service, right? I've been said that the live service strategy has not been my cup of tea. But all right. Team LFG is brand new studio, so you won't see something for them for 5 years. So that's a next gen thing. And Bungie's Marathon that got delayed. But if they're able to get their stuff fixed or whatever they have planned, 2026, right? So that's what you see. Over here, these are just co-development support studios. But these guys right here, because they're publishing, they're part of helping other developers for the second part, third part to push games, and one of those is Death Stranding, and Death Stranding 2, we're literally getting it in about a week, the 26th. And then there's also Lost Solar Side, which they may have supported, So XDev, while they're not a dev that they do themselves, they're there to help other developers, probably to optimize the PlayStation experience. So you see, everybody's busy here, right? Everybody's busy. Everybody's making something. But, the 5-6 year development cycle, if they released a game already, then you're not going to see another game from them for 5 to 6 years. And if they were making a game and it got canceled and they start a new project, that resets the time, right? This is where I come in and say that Sony should have invested in a few of these studios so that way they can have 2 teams. Like Sucker Punch, they should have 2 teams. Santa Monica, they did split this to 2 teams because the one team did God of War Ragnarok, while Cory Barlog's team is working on a new IP. Some say it's a sci-fi IP, right? So that makes sense. Sony Ben only has 1 team. They should have had 2 teams. Blue Point, okay, I guess why they don't have 2 teams, stuff like that. But hopefully Sony recognizes stuff like that, right? Yeah, I mean, everybody's like talking about PlayStation. What exactly do you want to talk about? The brand is at its strongest. They confirmed they're still into consoles. We're gonna get customized consoles, right? In fact, they released the first console with AI upscaling, the PlayStation 5 Pro. So they're all about technology. Best third-party support in console, best hardware, top of the line first-party studios. I mean, there's no concern for the PlayStation gamers. I know grifters are gonna try. Oh, they're going PC day and date. Oh, they're gonna do what did Microsoft do? Hell, even their TV shows and spinoffs of their PlayStation IPs are doing successful. Like it's pretty much an overall win. They won. They handedly won this gen, and they're gonna use that momentum and carry it over. Right? They're gonna carry it over. They're at their strongest they ever been. So for me as a PlayStation console gamer that enjoys consoles, I don't got nothing to worry about in terms of are they going to force me to PC? Are they going to do this? We're not. They got little issues, which I think they're on their way correcting, which will only benefit the PlayStation 6. I'm looking forward to some amazing games. Sorrows, Death Stranding, which is next week. Lost All Aside in August. Ghost of Yotai. Naughty Dog. Let's not even try to cap. Intergalactic is going to be amazing, right? Wolverine. I mean, I don't know. So when we talk PlayStation, they're at their strongest, and therefore, whatever Xbox is doing is irrelevant, right? Especially when Xbox puts games on PlayStation. So not only is Microsoft's strategy about PC, and I know some people be like, oh, because of the PC thing, you're gonna have Steam. Therefore, why do I need to get a PlayStation when I can get an Xbox, PC, whatever, and play PlayStation there? Well, you can do that now. Can't you do that now? Can't you like get a PC and enjoy Game Pass and Steam and GOG and Epic Game Store, and you can play your PlayStation games and Xbox games and all that? Like, you could literally do that now. You could have been done that over the last year, but you didn't because you want a console. And this PlayStation is the console, and they will make the customized console experience. It's not an Xbox. Xbox is not going to do that, so that's not an option. Now if you're willing to go the PC route, then yeah, enjoy your PC gaming, Xbox branded PC gaming, whatever they do, in that direction. Hey, that's their house. But here in this house with PlayStation, they're solidified, right? And that's why it's even got better because a lot of these projects, especially the China Hero Project, the India Hero Project, the MENA Hero Project, right? These projects are going to produce even more and curate creative games, right? There might be some AA games, maybe some AAA games, but it's going to be some new creative titles, from each regions with the creativity of new developers within these regions. And it's going to be fantastic playing on PlayStation, an actual console, actually built console with the console gamer mind with customized hardware, no different than the 5-4, like all generations. Like nothing's changing for us in that respect. We're getting a console, simple, no trickery, no foolishness, no marketing. This, no, this is a PlayStation and they point to a toaster. None of that weird stuff. It's simple. They're having the most success they ever had as a console provider, and they're going to keep on going. They're going to keep on going until they no longer have success as a console provider. And when that day happens, then yeah, they'll go either third party multiplayer, whatever, who knows, right? Go fully cloud, whatever happens when that day comes. But that day is not today. That gen is not this gen. This gen, they're stronger than ever, and they even predicting more profit, more success. So yeah, as far as PlayStation goes, right here, 30.7 billion. The first gaming company to reach 30 billion, not even Tencent. You would think Microsoft, Xbox would have reached this number because Xbox, after the purchase, they acquired ABK, one of the largest publishers in gaming. Then they add Bethesda on top of that. Don't forget they have the mobile side, King Games, right? King, with Candy Crush and all that. They've been doing day and date on PC with their games. PC has Game Pass, and they're doing a little bit of day and date on PlayStation. Like they're everywhere. They put their stuff everywhere, and Microsoft still haven't reached 30 billion. I think they reported 27 billion. And here's PlayStation. It's wild. Strongest they ever been. So yeah. So for us PlayStation gamers, we're good. This whole, Xbox PC, Microsoft pushing PC gaming with different stores. I'm sorry, console gamers, right? Especially on the PlayStation side, will continue to get the PlayStation console as long as Sony's all about the console and they do right by the console. As long as they do right by the console, people will keep buying consoles. I would say the Xbox console gamer, many of them are going to go PlayStation. They're not going to go the PC route. They're not. They're not trying to hear about Steam and all this other weird stuff. Overall, they want a good console experience, customized for the console, simple OS. They don't want to deal with Windows and all the nonsense that goes with it. So yeah, you're going to lose even a lot more Xbox gamers trying to force them to PC. And they're going to go over to PlayStation, right? And they're going to enjoy greatness, right? That's just pretty much it. But again, just to wrap it up, does PlayStation have their own issues that they got to work on and improve, right? And get better at, Hopefully their live service strategy works out, and it doesn't get worse. But this gen's been great. PlayStation is at its strongest. I ain't worrying about this brand discipline or any weird stuff like that. They're the strongest they ever been. They're the most successful they ever been, dominating the console industry. Best third-party support, exclusives, timed exclusives, great relationships with creators and developers. The hardware's amazing. I really don't know what else to say I think it's just mostly grifting. I think people hope the brand will fail, which I don't know why you would hope, but if you want to spend your time hoping and coping, then you go right ahead. You know, I'm grounded in reality, so I'm just gonna stay grounded in reality. Um, enjoy the enjoy my PlayStation 5 Pro. Death Stranding 2's coming next week. Cannot wait. My PS5 Pro's ready. Then in August, Lost Soul Aside, which is a game I've been waiting a long time, and it's finally here. Oh man, it's just gonna be great. Everything's great. So anyway, you let me know what you think. But if you're nervous about PlayStation, I don't know how much more information and evidence do you need. At that point, I guess just stay worrying or stay grifting or just do what y'all do, man. Because I mean, most of the part, the gaming community don't actually acknowledge reality anyway. Y'all stay in this twilight zone and you permanently stay there, and as if it's gonna come true. I don't know, but anyway. Your only friend is YouTube Streets Porter Rock 77. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Membership opportunities is available. And check out my podcast every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And my Friday night lives also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, except for tomorrow, June 20th. I will not have a Friday night live. It will be deferred to June 21st at 3 p.m. while I have a special guest. Just pay attention to my Twitter, PorterRock77 underscore. More information will be there. All right. And then I'll post a note here on YouTube. But anyway, you guys take care. Happy Juneteenth. We're out of here. Peace.
Grand opening.